Good evening and welcome to Live United. Live United is an opportunity for us to share stories from around the Monadnock region about the great work that happens here to make a difference in people's lives. We welcome you to the show, and I'm pleased to have as my guest tonight Linda McGilvery, the director of the Harrisville Children's Center. Welcome, Linda.
Thank you, Kelly.
And thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Our children are such an important part of the world that we live in and a foundation for the future. And so we're excited to have you here because the work that goes on in our children's centers and our daycare facilities is just so important to the future of these children. So can you tell us a little bit of the history of the Harrisville Children's Center?
Sure. It started in 1972 and was then called the Harrisville School, and it was actually started by a current Harrisville resident who's now a staff member at Antioch, David Sobel. And he started this, he co-founded the Harrisville School as part of his doctorate project, and it took off. So it was for 4 to 5-year-olds when it first started. It was part of Antioch. In 1974, it became incorporated and became its own school, moved around a little bit in Harrisville, and finally in 1985 settled into what is known as the Cheshire Mills Boarding House, which is where we currently are. And for a while it served children preschool through grade 3, and then it was just toddlers and preschoolers. And then in 2006 we picked up infants again, so now it serves children 6 weeks to 6 years old.
So there must have been a need that David saw at the time when he felt like, wow, Harrisville really needs this children's center. Do you know what that was? What was missing?
Well, I think the need that David saw at first was that what Antioch needed, and they needed a facility, a program for their student teachers, for their students. And I don't really know back in '72 what the need was, except I do know there wasn't mandatory kindergarten at that time. And the program focused mostly on 4, 5, and 6-year-olds in those early years, is what I understand. In '85, that's when daycare really started being needed. Two parents working, and that's what took off at that point. Kindergarten became, at least Harrisville started a kindergarten program, and the neighboring towns. That wasn't needed like it had been, and it was really shifted to the younger children, and that's where it stayed today.
So it's really been an evolution of starting from a need and a gap that existed out there to now really trying to accommodate the changing world that we live in.
That's right.
Where we have working families. So you're serving infant to 6-year-olds.
Yes.
Are the 5 and 6-year-olds not in kindergarten then? So this is serving a need for them because otherwise they'd have no place to go?
Well, most children do go to kindergarten elsewhere. We don't have a separate kindergarten program. What happens is children will turn 5 that last year. Some families opt to send their children to kindergarten later. It might be a child whose birthday is in August or September, and because we're open year-round, they might be turning 6 prior to going to kindergarten, and that's why we're licensed through age 6 to accommodate those children, so we can make sure all children can stay with us until they go to kindergarten.
So you have a pretty broad range of ages there. Can you talk a little bit about the type of programming that you're doing with these young people?
Sure. It varies by age. We have 4 classrooms. We have the infant room, and that 6 weeks. They start at 6 weeks, and usually up to about 16 months. We don't have set ages when we move children to the next group. We really base it on that child and if they're ready for the next age group, the next program. Then we have toddler. Then we have younger preschool. Toddler is the 16 months, so about 2.5. Younger preschool is 2.5 to 3 to 3.5, and then the older preschool would be the 3.5 through 6. The programs are rooted in the belief that play is the work of young children. So in all of our programs, you'll see children playing, and there is structure to the program in that there's a rhythm to the day. For example, if you look at any of the classrooms besides the infant room, which is really 100% individualized based on the need of each baby, when they need to eat, when they need to sleep, and so forth. The other rooms have a rhythm. So there would be a play time, and then we do an all-school sing, and then everybody's having snack and an activity time. And again, it looks different in the different classrooms. But they all have that and play during that time. And then outside, rain or shine, every day we go outside. And then they come in and they have lunch, and then it's rest time. After rest time, weather permitting, in the afternoons, we typically go outside for a good piece of the afternoon as well. And that's pretty much how all the programs run.
So studies have shown that play is so critical to the social and emotional development of young people, and we know that. Is there anything you're doing that also builds the foundation for them to be ready to enter into school?
Well, everything that we do helps them to be prepared, because it's such a big picture. It's not just knowing letters and knowing numbers. I taught kindergarten for 20 years, and I saw what was needed in kindergartners, and I had children come into kindergarten who could read, but they couldn't sit in a circle together. They weren't able to follow, simple directions. And then on the other hand, I had children who came in who really had not had preschool, and they hadn't had exposure. But I was able to work with them and get them to that place where they needed to be successful in kindergarten. So basically, everything that we do helps them be prepared. And yes, the academic piece, the being ready for what kindergarten has in store for them, is a piece of that. And it's a little tricky sometimes, because I feel that the schools have become a little more academic at younger ages. I think most people see that there's more testing, and what is expected of a kindergartner now is really different than 10, 20 years ago. So we try to balance that and make sure that, yes, we're preparing them, but we're also being developmentally appropriate at the same time. So a lot of what we do to get them ready is integrated through their everyday experiences. For example, in our all-school sing, we don't just come together and sing songs. We, the teachers, have picked out these songs with thinking about what the children will be learning through these songs and finger plays. For example, one of them is a poem that most people know, a little nursery rhyme: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, once I caught a fish alive, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, then I let it go again. Well, the children don't know that they're learning to count through that. To them, it's a fun little song, and then it goes on to say, why did you let it go? Because it bit my bit my finger, so which finger did it bite? The little finger on the right. And they love that, and we act it out, and we're dramatic, and they're learning to count. And that's how we get them ready for that academic piece. But they learn things right through of listening to others at snack time, meal times. They like to talk, and they learn to wait their turn and to listen to what other people are saying, to respond to what they're saying. When we get ready to go outside, they're beginning to get in lines and walk in lines outside. They're learning safety. We have to cross our driveway to get to our parking lot, to get to our playground, and they learn to go outside and immediately stand on the wall and look both ways. Not that there are really any cars, because it's just our small parking area, but they still are learning that. So all those pieces kind of come together to help get them ready, but it's not separated into components. It's all integrated into the day.
It's nice to hear that, because we know that, you know, a lot of, again, the research has shown, and we hear from the employers out there that one of the things they see now is that missing creativity coming into the workplace. So when we think about our children going from cradle to career, it's so important to have that foundation that includes those skills where they're not just academically oriented, we want that as well, but where they really have those skills to problem solve, to think creatively, to engage with other people and have those kind of interpersonal relationships and have healthy ones. So really building that foundation for it. Tell us a little bit about some of the needs you have as a program. Do you have needs for volunteers, anything like that?
I guess our biggest need is it's always the piece of maintaining the space, as far as things break, toys break, furniture needs to be repaired, or we just want something built. Like right now, we're working on some of our raised beds. Some of them aren't in great shape, and it's more the maintenance piece that's a little tricky for us. We do have landlords. We're part of Historic Harrisville, which is also a nonprofit, and they maintain the building itself, but not the pieces within the building. So I guess that's the hardest part for us. Like I'll have a teacher come in and say the latch on the door isn't working, and I have to figure out how to get that fixed. So I've become kind of a jack of all trades, but I can't do everything. Sometimes I just don't know how to do it. So that's a little tricky for me. We have great parents who will help me whenever I ask, so I can utilize them, but on the other hand, they're off working all day. So that's the main piece. Really, we do quite well. All of our parents are involved in all of our fundraisers. They help out with our field trips, special events. Those are optional for them, but they pretty much are involved with that. We do 2 work days a year when they come and they help out with set projects that we have. We have some volunteers. Well, we have one woman from Harrisville who comes twice a week and helps in our preschool program, just as needed by the teacher.
And those kind of volunteers are so important. I think sometimes as citizens we forget, you know, we have children in daycare, and I have one heading off to college this fall. And so we get involved in their life where they are at that point in their life. And that when we have that opportunity to volunteer outside of, you know, the moment that they're in, it's so important and critical to meeting the needs of programs such as yours. So citizens, if you have some time out there and you like to garden, it looks like you're looking for some volunteers to help with raised beds. Certainly some people with some handy skills. Things like repairing doors and maybe painting and those kinds of things. Just cleaning and a lot
of our toys are made from more natural materials like wood, and we don't want to throw them away when they break. We want that wheel back on the truck, and that's something that we don't always know how to do.
So an opportunity to maybe be a little bit of an elf out there.
Right,
For somebody who loves to maybe build toys or repair toys.
Right.
So that's wonderful to hear. So tell me, there's a lot of change going on in the early childhood field. New Hampshire has become very active in what's called Spark New Hampshire, in really trying to get some standards across the state for how child care agencies are organized and working and how they work together. Are you involved with Spark at all?
Well, I have gone onto their website and I'm studying it and learning about it. I'm not on any of the committees at this time. I did just go to a workshop. Jessica Locke from the state of New Hampshire is running workshops on the new New Hampshire Early Learning Standards, which are coming out soon. The last ones were, I believe, 2005 or 2006. So they're revising them based on changing needs. And I went to that workshop. We're all required to to go to that, and we can't implement it yet because it's not finished yet. But we gave our feedback, and we're learning about what they are doing, and that all ties in with Spark as well. It's all part of the big picture. So that's pretty much how I'm involved right now. Just trying to get a sense of what the changes are and how they are impacting our small center, but also early childhood in New Hampshire in general.
So are you seeing any opportunities for advocacy to occur at a bigger level, whether it's locally or at the state level regarding early childhood?
I think there's always opportunity for advocacy for early childhood. I guess it always happens, and I think it will always be important to have that advocacy for young children because they're not able to speak up for themselves. So I think the best way to go about doing that is just being visible and being out there. And that's one of the benefits of where we are, is we're located right in the middle of a village. And we have people around us all the time, and our children are very visible. They go to the store with us and have popsicles on the front step at the Harrisville General Store. If we need to get the mail, a few children will come with me to get the mail. They take swimming lessons at the Harrisville Pond. They go to the library. And I just think people seeing children is one of the best ways to advocate for children, to know that they're there.
Oh, absolutely, and to realize that there's ways to be involved with them, perhaps. Now, you mentioned that you do some fundraisers and you have different events going on. Can you tell us a little bit about those?
We have 3 main fundraisers. One is an online auction, which we just finished, and that takes up pretty much all of January, February, and March. It's live on the website by March, so it's a little easier on my end, but preparing for it is mostly January and February. The wreath sale is much smaller, but it's still a big fundraiser for us, and that's November into December, and that's selling these beautiful wreaths, handmade wreaths that we purchase and then we sell. And then the last big fundraiser is our lobster dinner raffle, where we sell tickets for $5 each. We don't sell more than 100. No, I take that back. We do sell more than 100. We don't sell more than 1,000. And the winner can choose $500 or a dinner, a lobster clam bake for 20 people, and the board of directors hosts it. Yeah.
That sounds like fun.
It is fun. It's been very well received, and I thought most people would take the $500, but I'm wrong. Most people have chosen to take the dinner, and they've loved it. So those are the 3 big fundraisers. We also do an annual appeal, and that is like most annual appeals, where we send out a letter and accept donations to the center, and that's done in December, and it continues through the year really, but it begins each December.
So you have quite a bit of fundraising that you do for the program.
Yes.
And we know that it's that one of the things that you do is provide scholarships for young people that are coming in, that for families that may be in need. How would people contact you if they were interested in knowing more about the Harrisville Children's Center, about your upcoming events, your lobster raffle?
Well, we do have a website, and it's our name. So it's harrisvillechildrencenter.org, and we try to list everything on there. Again, back to volunteers. That would be great to have somebody who knows about websites helping out a little bit. I do have some help with that, but that's tricky for me, and I do the best I can to keep it updated, and it's in pretty good shape. But that's one place to look, and that's where I get most of my phone calls for prospective families. Prospective families is going through the website. They can call us. Our number is 827-3905. And I guess those are the best two ways. Sometimes people just stop by.
So do you have to be a resident of Harrisville to utilize the center, or can you come from anywhere in the Monadnock region?
You can come from anywhere in the world because we have had families, believe it or not, from California and, I think North Carolina last year, because we have a summer program that's an 8-week optional program. It's great for our families who can take a little bit of time with their children over the summer as a family and not have to pay for it. So it's a little bit of a scheduling nightmare sometimes because every week can look different, but it's great for the families. Teachers, a lot of times they'll take their children out for the summer, and that's what we want. We want the families to have that time with their children. So because we allow that, we can open up our doors to other people. And Harrisville and the surrounding towns have a lot of visitors, and there are a lot of people who come for the summer, might spend the summer on one of the lakes, and they would like their children to be involved in our camp programs. We call it camp. And we last year had a little girl who was visiting her grandparents. She was 2, I believe, or 2 or 3, and she was visiting her grandparents for several weeks, and they sent her 2 half-days a week to get to know the children in this area. So we really will take children from everywhere. However, the focus is, and the majority of our children obviously are from the Monadnock region, and they are from so many towns I couldn't even name them over the years. Right now I think we have 12 towns represented, but when I look at a map of the Monadnock region, I think I've gone up to 19 or 20 towns in this area that we've had children from.
Now, is it a sliding fee scale, or is it, do you have a set rate for like your summer program and then for the actual year-round childcare?
It is a set fee, and then the tuition assistance from the United Way helps families that qualify for it, so they have to be at a certain income level. And then families who get state assistance would have to qualify for that as well.
So by contacting you, again, they could find out the information about the costs, the facilities. And are people welcome to come out there and visit?
Yes, and actually I discourage people from enrolling without coming to visit. Sometimes people are eager to enroll, or they might be living somewhere far away and they're moving to the area and they want to reserve a spot, which is fine to do that, and they can do that, but I always want them to come in and spend a little bit of time with us before they make that final decision.
Very good. So again, can you share with the public how they could reach out to you?
Reach out to us to just get in touch with us about our programs, or? And
to volunteer, or if they want to participate in any of your events, that kind of thing.
Well, probably the best way is to call us at 827-3905. Also, email is a great way to communicate with people, and that's info@harrisvillechildrencenter.org.
And could you share your website one more time?
Sure,
with us?
it's our name, so it's www.harrisvillechildrencenter.org.
Very good. Well, I want to thank you for joining us, Linda. It's been fabulous to have you on the show. Is there any last message that you have for the public?
Oh, I can always think of lots of things to say about children, but I guess I'll just say our belief is that it's important to have programs like the Harrisville Children's Center and so many other programs in this area where love and respect and knowledge come together for the healthy development of the young child.
I don't think I could have said it better. I want to remind our audience that there's opportunities with programs across the Monadnock region to really be giving and advocating and volunteering your time if you can't afford to give. I want to thank you again for joining us, Linda, and I want to thank you, audience, for joining us tonight.